Hi everyone, thank you so much for joining today. I'm Kritika from the Zoho landing page marketing team, and we also have Srina joining us from Zoho CRM. And I'm really happy to have you all here today because today's session is going to be very hands-on and practical. So we'll be talking about how landing pages and CRM can work together to create a smooth journey from lead capture to conversions. So instead of just talking theory, we'll actually show you how to set this up in real time. So before we begin, I just want to add a quick note that everyone is muted for the session, but please feel free to drop your questions in the chat or in the Q&A panel anytime. We'll be making sure to take them up towards the end at the Q&A session. So here's a quick look at what we'll be covering today. So we'll be starting with the basics, like what landing pages are and why they matter, especially for your marketing campaigns. And then we'll look at how landing pages and CRM can work together. So, and after that, we'll jump into a live demo where we'll build a landing page connected with Zoho CRM, and you can actually watch the leads flow into the CRM in real time. And we'll also touch on reporting and how you can track back the revenue to your landing page campaigns. My colleague from Zoho CRM will also join in to show what happens after a lead enters the CRM. And that's what we're going to cover today. Before we dive in, I'd like to get a quick sense of the audience that is here today. So how are you currently using your CRM today? I'll just share a quick poll for that. So is it mostly for lead management, or do you do campaign tracking and you have sales pipelines, or is it just for customer communication and follow-ups? So please do answer the one, please do choose the answer that is most relevant to you. Great. Thank you for answering. I can see the answers coming in. Great. Honestly, what we're going to be discussing today is going to tie into all of these use cases. So for now, I'll start with the basics. So let's dive into landing pages. So I know that some of you might already be familiar with this term, but I still want to break it down for a little clarity. So a landing page is essentially a single web page that's designed with one goal in mind. So that is a conversion. So what I mean by a conversion here is that it's any action that you want your visitors to take. So whether it's signing up for your webinar, they're downloading a resource, or making a purchase. So now you might be thinking like, why I already have a website, and why do I need a landing page too? Why should I do that again? So that's a great question. And you have to think of your website like this big shopping mall. So it's a great place for visitors who want to explore, who are getting to know your brand, who are just discovering your brand for the first time. They just want to know your brand and the services or the products that you offer. But when you're running a specific campaign, like suppose if you're launching a new product, or if you're running a seasonal campaign, or if you're getting signups for your webinar, or simply you have a special sale going on. So you don't want your visitors to wander through the entire mall before coming to your store, right? So you want them to come directly to your shop. So that is where a landing page is coming in. So a landing page is like a standalone shop in the middle of the mall with just one clear message. So there are no distractions and no other shops or no other offers that is going to tempt the user. So it's going to be a very focused experience that is designed to get the user to take action. So whether that's registering for your event, they're downloading an offer, or they're making a purchase. So we have to make sure that the visitor is getting exactly what they came for without getting lost in the crowd. So another big advantage about landing pages when you're using landing pages is personalization. So not every visitor is the same. But if you're going to serve the same generic experience, which is your website, for every campaign, for every product, automatically your conversion rate is going to suffer. So if there is a different campaign, if somebody is coming from a different source, say social media or from Google Ads, or if they're coming through search, you want to deliver different experiences that is relevant to them. So landing pages will allow you to tailor the landing experience based on the audience, like for the campaign that they're responding to, or the geographical region that they're coming from, or simply based on their previous preferences. So when your messaging is relevant, like if you click on an ad that says like shoes are 50% off, and you end up on a landing page where you're not seeing anything that is relevant that you saw on the ad, you're likely going to bounce, right? So that is what we are trying to avoid. So when your messaging becomes more relevant, your conversions will improve, and also the quality of leads will also improve. So now I've shortly explained why it's crucial to have a landing pages for your marketing and how they're useful in generating leads. But I'm going to move to the topic of this webinar, which is what happens to the lead once the form is submitted. So this is where things start to really get interesting. because capturing a lead is just the beginning of the journey. So what happens after someone fills out the form is equally important here. So that is where integrations come in. So Zoho landing page integrates with a wide range of tools like CRMs, email marketing platforms, automation tools, and analytic platforms too. So the idea is very simple. Once someone takes action on your landing page, that information can automatically flow into the tools that your team already uses. For example, if someone is registering for a webinar, their details can be instantly pushed into your CRM, or they can be added to your email campaign. So this helps businesses to respond faster. They can also personalize the communication that they're going to offer. And basically, you can track the entire customer journey from lead to customer. So today we are going to specifically focus only on Zoho CRM and see how the leads can flow from landing page directly into the CRM. So let's see how the journey actually works. So it's going to start with the landing page form. Like I mentioned, a visitor comes in, fills out their details, maybe their name, email, company, and phone number, and they'll submit the form. So the moment that happens, the information is instantly pushed into your CRM through the integration. So instead of manually exporting or importing data, a lead record is automatically created in CRM. So once the lead is going to enter your CRM, your sales team can follow up immediately. They can assign owners, they can trigger workflows, and they can help move the lead further down the pipeline. So the flow is very simple. It goes from the landing page form to the CRM integration. A lead is created, and then your sales and marketing teams can take over. So let me just quickly demonstrate this in the product too now. So I'll just quickly screen share. So now we're in the Zoho landing page builder. So I've already created a landing page using one of our templates. So let me just quickly go down to the form, the landing page form in this page. So we have the form here. Let me just click on integrate, which is what you'll do. And you have Zoho CRM right here. So we'll have to select the account, which we have to integrate with, and the portal. So in order to integrate your landing page form with Zoho CRM, you will have to have created a campaign in Zoho CRM. Let me just go ahead and quickly show you how I can create one. So I'm going to go into the Zoho CRM account. And here you can just click on the plus button here and just create a campaign. Just give it a name, say lead generation, and just a type. And you can quickly go ahead and save that. Yeah, so I've created a campaign now. So I'll go back to the builder now. So let me just refresh it once. Campaign has been created. So I'll be pushing all my leads from this landing page to this particular campaign. So here you have the option of pushing your leads to the leads module or the contacts module in Zoho CRM. So what is the difference between both is that the difference really comes down to the stage of the relationship that you have with the person. For example, say you're running a webinar on personal finance for young professionals. So people are going to be registering through ads, social media, or search, and they're most likely discovering your brand for the first time. So since these are new prospects who may be interested in your services later, it makes sense to push them into the leads module. So your team can then be able to follow up, nurture them, and they'll be able to understand their interests and then pursue them accordingly. But so if there is another example, say you're conducting an exclusive webinar for existing customers or customer users that are already familiar with the ecosystem, or they're using a competitor product or something like that, then the people registering are already customers or known users in your CRM. So in that case, you would be pushing them to the contacts module because you already have an established relationship with them. So a simple way to think about it is like, if the landing page is meant for capturing new potential customers, use leads. So if it is meant for engaging the existing customers or known users, you can simply use the contacts module. So I'll just go ahead and select the leads module for now. And then we come to field mapping. So field mapping is simply deciding where the information from your landing page should go inside the CRM. So when you map the landing page fields to the corresponding CRM fields, for example, if your fields are say name, email, phone number, you will map them to the fields, right fields inside those CRM automatically. So let's just map the fields now. I'll map the name field to the name field. And I'll select the email to the email. and the phone to the form field. So I've now mapped the landing page form fields to the fields in Zoho CRM. A small best practice here is that you can keep your form fields aligned with your CRM structure. So it will make reporting, segmentation, and follow-ups much cleaner later on. So now below that, we also have other few useful options. So one is marketing source tracking. So this is going to capture things like UTM parameters and Google Click ID. So you can actually see where the lead is coming from. So it's coming from Google Ads, LinkedIn, email campaigns, and so on. So this is one of the useful features where you can actually track the marketing source of your leads. Another useful option that we have here is duplicate management. So instead of creating multiple records for the same email address, you can actually update the existing CRM record automatically if you toggle this on here. So it's already toggled on here. And finally, you can add tags. So this is going to be really helpful for segmentation. So you can just add a tag, say lead generation here, and then you'll be able to group and filter all the leads from this using this tag. So I just used the tag here. And then we have something called as lead enrichment. So far we've captured the information that the visitor is directly entering in the form, right? But this enrichment is going to help you add more context and make that lead more valuable for your sales team. For example, maybe someone has only filled in their name and email address. So you can use enrichment to like capture additional business information like company name, industry, designation, or the company size, or even the company website. So it all depends on the available data in public forums. So just like field mapping, you can also decide where this enriched information should go inside Zoho CRM. So here on the left, you have the enriched lead information which is being pulled. So suppose you're able to get the company name, you can just map the org name to the company in Zoho CRM. So your sales team will have much better context because before they even make the first call or send that first email, right? So a practical use case for this would be like if your lead is from a company that has more than 500 employees, so you can directly route it to your enterprise sales team instead of routing it to some other sales team. Or if the lead belongs to a specific industry, or if they are looking for a specific solution, you can trigger industry specific email workflows automatically if you've already enriched your leads. So enrichment is basically going to help transform a basic form submission into a much more complete and actionable lead profile. So with this, we've come to the end of field mapping. So the integration is now successful. So let's just check how this works. I just published the page now. See how this works. So let me just go and have a form submission. You can see the lead is instantly available in Zoho CRM. So there is one another way in which you can push leads from Zoho landing page to Zoho CRM, which is by using a CRM form. So you can actually create forms in CRM and then embed them into Zoho landing page. I'll quickly show how it's done. So let's go to the setup menu here. And then here in channels, we have something called as web forms. Here you can just click on a new form and create a form for this landing page. So you can just click create one. Yeah, so now we've entered the form builder. So you can just add fields that would be relevant for your landing page. I'm just going to go ahead and add a first name field to this. So once you're satisfied with the fields and the design of the form, you can just go and click on next. So in this, you will have to specify the URL where this form will be hosted. So wherever the landing page URL that you're going to host this form, you'll have to specify it here. So in case you're not sure where it's going to be hosted yet, you can just simply add an asterisk symbol and click on add, so that anywhere the form is being hosted, the data will be pulled from that. So you also have the option of enabling double opt-in. So in this, an email with the unique URL will be sent to the subscribers. So when they fill out the form, an email will be sent to them with a link, and they have to click on the link for them to be added to the Zoho CRM database. So this is an option that you can use. And you can also redirect them to like a custom landing page that you've built, like a thank you page, or you can use one of the default pages that we have available in Zoho CRM. And then obviously you have to assign an owner for the lead so that the lead is not sitting idle and somebody is responding to them and communicating with them instantly. So we have to assign an owner for that. And I've already assigned the owner for this too. So you also have the option of like notifying the lead owner. Whenever a form is submitted, the lead owner will be sent a notification. And then you can acknowledge the visitor using like email templates that are available. And then you can also track the visitors using Zoho Sales IQ. And then there is another option where you can actually manually approve the leads before they are added to your Zoho CRM, which you can do by toggling this on here. So these are the options that are available in CRM forms. So I'll just quickly save the form and move ahead. Created the form. Go back to the builder now. So in the builder, in the insert menu, we have something called as the forms. Just a minute. So in forms, we have the CRM form. And we created a web to lead form. So I'm just going to select that here. It's available here. Let me just add it. The form has been added. So let me quickly update the page. And just have an entry now. So I'm back to the Zoho CRM account. As you can see, the lead has been immediately pushed to Zoho CRM once we've entered it in the CRM form. So these are the two ways in which you can push a lead to your CRM database from Zoho Landing. So let me just go back to the slide share now. Now that the lead has entered CRM, the next question is how have we made it actionable? So there are a few important capabilities that is coming to play here. The first is field mapping that we did. So this is going to connect the fields in your landing page precisely to the correct fields in CRM. So instead of manually organizing the data later, everything gets structured properly from the beginning. So the next important feature that we have available is duplicate detection. So let's say that someone has already interacted with your business and they're going to fill out another form using the same email address. So instead of creating multiple records for the same person, your CRM can simply update the existing contact or the lead. So this keeps your CRM clean and gives your sales team much more complete customer history. And we also have timestamp tracking. So this captures exactly when the form was submitted and when the lead entered the CRM. So why is this useful here is because response time is very important in sales. So teams can actually measure how quickly the leads are being followed up with, and they can improve their response workflows also based on that. Next up, we have tags. So tags are going to be very useful for segmentation and routing. For example, if leads are coming from a webinar landing page, you can automatically tag them. And this is going to make it easier to filter the leads. You can create targeted campaigns or assign leads to the different teams easily. And lastly, we have lead enrichment. So sometimes a visitor may only provide basic details like name and email. So lead enrichment is going to add more context. And before the sales team reaches out to them, they'll have a better understanding of who the lead is and how relevant they might be. So, and then finally, we have marketing source tracking. So this is going to help you trace every lead back to the exact campaign or ad. So if you can actually answer questions like, did this lead come from LinkedIn? Did they come from Google Ads? And that level of visibility is very important because it's going to help marketing and sales teams actually understand what is driving the revenue and conversions instead of just making assumptions. So now that we've seen how leads are captured through landing pages and pushed into CRM, the next step is obviously understanding what happens to the lead once it enters your CRM. So now I'm going to hand off to my colleague from Zoho CRM, Srinath. He'll be walking you through the process. Off to you, Srinath.
Thank you, Kritika. Thank you for setting the stage. I hope I'm audible. The attendees can, feel free to react, feel free to add questions in the chat as the session goes on. Let's try to have an interactive session. Okay, we'll start this off. Let me share my deck. So I am Srinath. I am from CRM marketing. I mainly handle content strategy and demand generation for Zoho CRM. And I noticed that in the polls, majority of you voted that you manage and track leads using CRM, which is a very nice thing to see, because CRM helps you do that in a much more streamlined way than us doing it manually. So the goal with this webinar for me is to help you understand what you can do with leads once they enter CRM. Because right now, drop a thumbs up if you are currently using a CRM to automate some of your processes, and we'll get started right away. All right. So a couple of folks are actually using CRM. Okay, more than a couple. Very happy to see that. Okay, very nice. All right. So, let's just try to define CRM, for a moment. What is a CRM? You've heard people say, oh, CRM is a system of records. It's the single source of truth. It's a glorified database. And all of these definitions are right, but I like to call CRM, my moniker for CRM is something different, which I will reveal later on in the webinar. See, a CRM system helps you grow. It enables your growth. What I mean by that is, yes, your CRM is where your customer data resides. The major bulk, everything about your customer, the day, where did they come from, what products did they buy from you, what services did they buy from you, how much are they paying you, the email interactions, tasks associated with them, all the information you need about your customer resides in your CRM. Now, what was the need for a CRM? Well, you have processes that are pretty much mundane, routine, that really stifle you from doing the things that you want to do, which is interact with your customer and make more sales. So we started trying to automate processes. See, as you automate more and more processes in your org, you will see that the human errors go quite down a bit, and the need for humans to intervene also goes down, thus reducing the time it takes for a process to be completed. So let's now come back to leads and the journey of a lead from entering your CRM to becoming a customer. It's a rather fascinating one, according to me. See, generating leads is difficult because I take care of performance marketing for CRM, and I know it's very hard. You have a lot of regions to manage. You have a lot of ad groups to which you add multiple landing pages. You have sources coming from various sources. You run multiple campaigns. So generating leads is definitely not easy. Converting them is also a difficult task. But with Zoho landing page, you are now able to capture leads from various places and bring them to Zoho CRM. So that is half the battle won. Now let's look at how we can convert them to ensure the maximum leads that you generate are converted into paying customers. Because at the end of the day, that is all matters. Revenue matters for every business, and a healthy bottom line is what we all crave for. So let's start. The second a lead comes into the leads module or the potentials module, one of the first things that CRM helps you do is to route it. So there are multiple sales reps in your own companies who are very good at something. Like, for example, if I take the leads coming in from this webinar, if some of you are interested in buying Zoho CRM, I know just which rep to give it to, because they can handle it like really well. Similarly, you will have a region where you want this person to take care of a particular region. So any lead that comes from that region has to be routed to that rep. So manually doing this takes a lot of time, but you can set up assignment rules where you say whenever a record is created, it has to match certain criteria. Like as you can see in this screenshot here, if the lead source is any of the online medium, which is social media, and the industry belongs to a large enterprise, it has to be routed to Mark. Similarly, you can think of any combination, literally with anything, industry, deal size, anything, and you can route it to a certain person and make sure that the follow-up happens immediately. You remember, all of these processes we are doing as a collective effort to ensure the lead goes down the funnel and converts sooner. So you've now routed your leads. Now every rep has a bunch of leads assigned to them. Now what? Now they have to start converting them. So what is the first step to convert? You'll think, oh, gotta send them the email, gotta send them the first touch. But no, hold on. There are some leads who are more interested in buying from you than others. So there is a way to find that out, right? Usually you'd send a bunch of emails, and then if they respond, you'll say, okay, this person is responding, they're showing some intent, there is some interest, we can convert. Great. But hold on, let's automate these things. So when your user opens an email, that's a positive sign that they're showing intent. So let's assign 5 points to them. Say, give me a. Okay, I am sorry about that. Okay, am I still audible? Okay. Yeah, so thank you. So they open an email, which means that they are positive. They want to engage with your business. They respond to you, which increases their score. So you keep adding positive scores to the intents that we are looking for, and you can also reduce score for the things that we don't want. If you feel like they're a junk lead, reduce the points. They don't need to be scored that high. If the mail is bouncing, reduce the score. So once these scoring rules are set up inside Zoho CRM, what happens is the bunch of leads that you have a little score assigned to them, and automatically, literally automatically, you get a high score for leads that are of high interest. So now you've assigned leads to people, you've scored them for them. Now all they have to do is reach out to them, right? Great. So that first impression matters a lot. You see, like when Kritika showed, when the lead fills in the form, that's when they're at their warmest, which means they are actually shown interest, and in the next few minutes they'll move on to the next thing. But that's where you have to capitalize. So this can be done if you start using workflow rules. What workflow rules are? It's basically like, if this then that. It's basically that inside CRM, in the format of workflow rules. So you're saying, when a lead is created, when a record is created, and they match certain conditions, you need to do certain actions. Great. So does this action be restricted to welcome emails? Not at all. You can start with welcome emails because first impressions matter. So as soon as a lead is entered, you send them a welcome email, which is personalized because you now have the lead name information with you. Put on a merge field, choose a template, send the welcome email. So this happens as soon as they fill the form. So you're capturing their intent at the very earliest. The actions do not stop just with sending welcome emails. You can do a whole lot of things with workflow rules. For example, you can add tags to your leads as they come in. Did they come from any social media platform? Put a tag on them so that people can filter. Did they come from this one particular landing page that we ran for enterprises? Yes, then add a very large enterprise tag on them so that the necessary sales rep gets to see that. So you can add tags and you can create tasks. For example, as soon as a lead comes in, you send a welcome email and you create a task to make sure that the follow-up happens. So you can also write functions, custom functions, if you are a coder. So this is fairly no code. But if you are a coder, if you have people who can code, you can write custom functions which operate as webhooks. So every time a lead enters CRM, you can trigger a webhook which will do an action on any third-party software. So now we spoke about follow-ups briefly, but I'm sure we have different sales cycles for multiple use cases. Here, for example, when a user comes and they are looking for 3 to 5 seats, it becomes easy for us to route them through a self-help manner, which is they come in, they ask for a demo, we show them a couple of videos, they watch the videos and they make the purchase. But that's not the case with most deals. There are some leads which take a lot of back and forth. In that case, how do you personalize such follow-ups? Well, we have something called cadences in Zoho CRM. What cadences does is it helps you create a flow of follow-ups which are personalized, and they're based on the result of the very first follow-up. For example, as you can see on the screen, the first follow-up happens via email. Now, if the user opens the email, then based on that open status, the next follow-up happens. If the email is not opened, then the next set of follow-up happens, which you've set up. Hey, we noticed you haven't reached out to us. How about this? So if they've shown interest, the way you follow up changes. If they don't show interest, the way you follow up differs. Now, this is not just limited to email. You can do the same with emails, SMS, phone calls, meetings, WhatsApp even. So all of these come with certain statuses, and based on that status change, the next follow-up will be triggered automatically. So now you've distilled a really complex flow into a very simple automation, which you can set up in under a couple of hours. Once you set it up, you can forget about this, and the leads keep coming in because you have the landing page CRM integration, and the automation keeps happening because you've set it up in Zoho CRM. And now all you have to do is talk to customers and convert them. So we are getting close to the end where I will reveal my favorite moniker for CRM. See, all these leads are here and you want to interact with them to make sure that they convert. Instead of having multiple browsers open, multiple browser tabs where one is having WhatsApp, one is having Gmail, one is having your VoIP provider, let's bring it all into one place, which is Zoho CRM. Zoho CRM is an omni-channel CRM system which lets you bring multiple channels inside one place, so you can reach out to customer just where they are. Are they responding better on email? Okay, send them email from CRM. You don't need to have another tab open. Are they responding to SMSs better? Well, you can send SMSs through CRM. Are they responding to phone calls? Make phone calls through CRM. Are they responding on WhatsApp? Send WhatsApp messages using templates from CRM. You all in one place to do any sort of customer engagement. Now, this is this is what I call CRM. CRM is a growth engine because it helps you streamline processes. See, once you set processes, they keep happening. That's the magic about processes. So setting them up, once you set them up, they just keep running and the engine never stops. You keep feeding it leads and it keeps returning customers. And once they become your customer, you can have every detail, like I said in the beginning, like everything about them resides in one place and it's easy for you to see. So if in the future they have any sort of customer support issue, you can always have the context that you can rely on. So yeah, so let me just quickly round up what we covered. So we saw why we need a CRM. We saw how to route leads, how to prioritize them with scoring rules, and how you can automate routine actions using workflow rules. They don't have to just end with welcome emails. They can do assigning owners, adding tags, creating task follow-ups, anything. And we saw about cadences briefly, which gives you a rather strong control over how to customize the follow-up flow. And we also saw the omni-channel capabilities of Zoho CRM, which lets you take the most important action, which is call the customer and close the deal. So with that, I hand it back to Kritika. Hold on. Thank you. Over to you, Kritika.
Yeah. Thank you, Srinath. That was really insightful because you've covered a lot of things in this short session that you've done. I think our users will also find it very useful because and like you said, process is everything. Once you set up the process, the engine just keep going. So that's really insightful from you. So I'll quickly sum up, and please feel free to ask any questions about Zoho CRM. If you're already using CRM, you're stuck somewhere, please make use of Srinath and get all your questions answered here. So I'll just quickly sum up. Let me just share my deck now. So I'm here. So now that we've seen both sides, so like we've seen how leads are captured through landing pages and how they can move through the CRM. So I'm going to quickly connect the big picture for you. Srinath has already done that, but I'll just sum up from my side. Yeah. So what really makes this really powerful is the continuity between marketing and sales. So the landing page is just to capture the initial interest, and that CRM will help you qualify if that lead is actually potential. You can track them and you can move the lead through the sales process. So together there we can create a very smooth journey from the first touch to the last until they converted into a customer. So because everything is going to stay connected, all your marketing and sales team will get much more visibility, and that is the ultimate goal of connecting CRM with your landing pages. So marketing teams will be able to understand which campaigns are actually bringing in quality leads and not just traffic or registrations. And the sales team will know how much will get context about who the lead is, what they're interested in, and what they're actually what they are actually coming in for. So even before they reach out, they'll have more context about the lead. So just a quick example would be that if you're running two campaigns for the same product and you're seeing that one campaign is bringing in more leads and one is converting faster or generating higher value opportunities, you will be able to know which to prioritize first, right? So that is the kind of insight that you'll be able to get once you connect your landing pages with Zoho CRM, and all the reporting and all the analytics is also connected together. So that is the big advantage of connecting Zoho CRM with Zoho landing page. So you'll be able to track your revenue, and by integrating your landing page reports with Zoho CRM, you can track beyond just visits and form submissions. You can actually start connecting the campaigns to the revenue outcomes. So instead of just saying that this campaign has generated 500 leads, you can actually understand which campaign is generating those qualified opportunities, which leads are being converted into customers, and which marketing effort is actually contributing to your revenue. So that is really the value of having landing pages and CRM work together as one connected system instead of two separate tools. So with this, I've come to the end of today's session. Thank you all for joining today. I hope this session on Zoho CRM and Zoho landing page was useful for all of you. We'll meet you all in another useful webinar. Thank you.
Thank you, Kritika. See you.